You are listening to Tap. I'm called Manna, and I am here with someone called Cynthia Sue Larson, who is the best-selling author of several books, including Quantum Jumps, Reality Shifts, and the one that I suspect we will be talking mostly about today, High Energy Money. Yay! Cynthia has a degree in physics from UC Berkeley, an MBA degree, a Doctor of Divinity, and a black belt in martial arts. She's the founder of Reality Shifters, and you can meet her on the channel Gaia and also History Channel, and now right here on Therapeutic Astrology Podcast. So welcome, Cynthia.
Oh, thank you, Mana. Such a pleasure to talk with you today.
I have been looking forward to saying, how good can it get that you agreed to speak with us today?
Perfect. Love it.
Because how good can it get? Right. How good can it get? It's your motto.
Yes. I like to encourage people to ask a question that we want to live the answer to, because we live in a participatory universe.
So we've just entered Scorpio season, just like today as we're recording. So let's talk about money. And so I have this book, High Money Energy. It's pretty affordable and short, but also quite enlivening with some cool concepts. I thought maybe you could just start off by saying something about shifting your reality into having more money. Say something about it.
Yeah, well, mainly the thing that people tend to not notice is that we have a relationship with money. And so this is a small book, you're right. It's very focused on that relationship. And with all relationships, usually when you think about relationships, we think about people. We think of maybe a loved one, maybe our family member, a friend, maybe a romantic partner. And in all these situations, it's possible for the relationship to be very supportive, positive, respectful, fun, kind of relaxing and energizing, or it can be problematic. Not that we want it to be problematic, but sometimes these things happen. So when it comes to money, when you start thinking, gosh, is it possible that I have a relationship with money? It's an interesting question. And the book invites you to take a look at various lenses of how to see what could be going on there. Everything from the assumptions that we tend to have that are operating deeply, sometimes on a subconscious level, about the way we think reality is, sometimes based on who we are and the way we really, it's just the way we move through reality. Some people are very happy just having miracles arrive and everything just shows up at the right time in the right place. That works for me, but it doesn't work for everybody. So for people that feel like, no, I have to earn all the money, the prosperity that comes in my life, I have to work hard for it. Okay, great. Some people are more the investment type. It's like they feel that they should make some choices and then things should pay off. So there are lots of different ways to do that. And this book addresses those different psychological presets that each of us has. And so you don't really have to change who you are. It's more a matter of understanding who you are. The only changes you might want to make are some of those beliefs that might be blocking you. And the book does delve into all of that. So that's kind of the book in a nutshell, along with some fun exercises. And if you're open to those money miracles, it's the right book for you because it does have some fun ideas there.
Yeah. And then there's the convictions that can block it a little bit. I'm just thinking about just the completely ordinary idea that you kind of need to do your duty before you can enjoy. You kind of need to go and have a job before you can just have money fall in your lap. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not against the idea. I know some people really are. That's who they are. And so for people that feel like, I can't change that, oh, you don't have to change that. Then you work with it. You realize, okay, that's how your core beliefs are so foundational, so fundamental. That particular belief is not moving much. That's okay. Then I would really I'd sort of move into it, to recognize, okay, then how can I be in highest service? When you start feeling more deserving, then you're opening the floodgates to prosperity rushing forward because you really know that you're doing everything the best you can to make things better for others and to leave the world a better place than what it was when you showed up. And that's a good thing. So I'm not opposed to it. But some people don't need to do that. So that's what's interesting about these different personality types with prosperity, with money.
Okay, so you look at it as personality types.
I think that's good to acknowledge that sometimes you can change some things, but when you know, and you can actually feel it in yourself when you just feel like, oh, I feel lighter, brighter, happier, knowing that I'm going to do everything I can. So you'll just show up and do your part, and the universe does the heavy lifting. The creator, source, God, whatever you want to call it, that's going to do everything else. And that's why it's so important when you ask questions, you really are participating in a conversation. So you can talk to money. Some people feel tense if they just the fact that we're saying the word money, money, money right there, it could be causing a stomach clenching for some people. It's stressful just to hear the word. And if that's happening, then you know for sure that some blockages are there. And that's worth listening to yourself. This is why your own psychology matters. This is why it is a relationship.
Okay, your own psychology matters, and it's a participatory relationship. I'm hearing that we have with money, but with the universe, with anything.
Actually, yes. So this book is about money, but the truth is you can actually apply pretty much all the concepts anywhere. It ultimately is showing the keys to manifestation and prosperity. You can map the concepts onto relationships pretty much with anything else, people, pretty much anything. But it's a very specific book about money because money seems to be so fundamental in our culture these days that they say money can't buy happiness, and that's true. However, it seems like it sure can make it a lot easier. And we need money, and it seems like with inflation going up recently, it can be more stressful for people than it used to be.
Yeah. And like trying to be a self-employed person. I mean, I was choosing between your books because I found you online on, shifting reality. I was like, oh, I need this shifting reality. That's what I live for, I feel. It's like, yes, I want to shift my own reality. I want to keep on shifting and developing. And so when I looked at your bibliography, I felt I needed the book on money because, it might help. And,
very practical, and like you said, it's small, and it's the least expensive book. So that was by design. It's like, okay, this is the foot in the door one. Like,
let's get in.
Yeah, let's get in. Let's try this. Let's see some progress.
So, what is it about reality shifting? And I'm looking forward to saying a little bit about your birth chart because you're a Capricorn, and that is the archetype of reality.
Yes, exactly.
That is reality. So, what is it about shifting reality that you care so deeply about, and I assume that you are called to do?
Oh my gosh, yes. This is our time as humans. We're going through to me, it looks like a narrowing, like a rapids, like when you're following the water in a river, when the water comes to a channel that gets narrower and narrower. In order to go through, the water goes faster and faster. That's what's happening right now. We're in 2023. I'm not going to talk about any of that, but I think everybody can feel it, that it seems like things are going faster and faster. And all my life, I'm now.
Are you talking about like days going faster?
It does, yeah. Everything from days to.
It's just that I'm having this feeling, and I'm trying to not be insane from it because I'm feeling like I'm waking up and then I'm going to bed. Like I'm feeling it's so accelerated.
Yes.
Even though I meditate and I try to slow down and I take things out, it's still like okay, sorry.
It feels like intuitively, it feels to me we're in the rapids. My whole life up until this point was getting ready for these times, and a big choice point for humanity to either choose to go down what people call transhumanism. I'm not going to go into that too much, but basically it's a choice point where we can rely on technology and make that our golden calf, our idol, our false god, and say like, oh, AI can solve all of our problems for us. And this has been a prophesied point. And for me, it's very personal. I feel like I came into this lifetime with a specific purpose to show people that we have the internal, natural, quote unquote, technology, but it's built into us. We are miracle beings. We are reality shifters. We are, the old words for it would be shamans. We have what people call magic. We have access to this. I believe in working with the highest level of love and goodness for all concerned. So for me, it's a spiritual path. You're right. I'm very passionate about it. It's hard to explain all of this, except maybe the simplest thing is to mention that when I was born, I remembered having been conscious before I was born. So it's sort of that born aware thing. I'm unusual for a Capricorn. I know that. But
I have explanations. I'm an astrologer. I have explanations. No problem.
perfect. Yeah, it's an interesting time in my life for
Oh my
sure.
god. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. So trying to roll back a little bit because you were saying that, yeah, you were talking about a prophecy, that this has been
Yes,
prophesied.
it has.
By whom?
So, okay, the Hopi, I love them because they have a prophecy rock. They have it's written in stone, thousands of years old, and it shows two paths. It shows that there is a point in time when one path looks like it's going up, up, up. It looks so regimented. It looks like the people look like robots, and it goes up until it vanishes into nothingness, like it's going up into the cloud. We call it the cloud. Interesting. And then the creator is down there at the bottom of this rock picture in the lower left corner, and he's showing that the lower line, it's like lower, closer to the earth, being respectful of the earth, keeping the Kopavi, the crown chakra, open to receive intuition and guidance, keeping the heart open to keep loving other humans and the plants and animals, keep loving Earth. And that path continues and it does not die. Now, the Hopi are so interesting because they say the world has ended many times, that this is our fourth world and we're going into the fifth. They say that we've gone through a flood, a great flood. What's interesting about their stories, which to me sound like so much more than stories, is that there is some of these controversial ancient archaeologists that are pointing out some 12,000 year cycles on Earth where there's like a disaster cycle in every 12,000 years. And guess what? We're in it right now. You'll see a weakening of the Earth's magnetic field. Check. So that's happening. You'll see the Earth poles are moving. Check. You'll see that there will be a die-off of some of the plants and animals dying, but some old ones coming back, like out of nowhere. That's the Hopi prophecy. Check. So it's very interesting that some of these things are fitting so perfectly. And clearly, it's an indicator of what I feel called to do, which is to help people wake up to notice the idea of reality shifting, which is really becoming extremely popular on places like TikTok, YouTube. Young people are loving the idea. They're coming in ready to do it. That's important because this is the time that humans are capable of stepping up and knowing that in an instant, whatever things look like can be changed. And we're seeing that with the Mandela effect, certainly. So this is what I dedicate my entire life to, is helping to provide the tools for humanity to go through this time, which we're made to do, and we're here for a reason. But of course, practically dealing with our own life situations, such as money, practical things for each of us individually.
Yeah. So, yeah, what were you saying about that last point? That practically, individually, I mean, is it that comes first?
It has to,
Yeah.
because if we focus on the problems of the planet, it's too much and it becomes stressful and overwhelming. So we're not meant to do that. We're meant to just show up and love the people, the place, the animals, the plants where we are, the earth where we are, to be the best human being we can be, to be listening to ourselves, to be our own best friend. These are things in some cases people are forgetting or have forgotten to do. Maybe they weren't encouraged. Maybe they've been told you have to do this other thing. You have to pretend to be something you aren't. You have to make money and do it a certain way.
I guess that's where fear come in,
Yes.
because the reason why we would stick to what we've learned is the fear that, well, I have to do this otherwise, and that's related to money often, right? Otherwise I lose my security.
Yes. And it can be a very powerful fear. But our task, our mission, if we wish to accept it, is to rise above things like this. I call it a drama triangle. It's not me that calls it that. Lynn Forrest wrote a beautiful book, Beyond the Victim Triangle, but it's been recognized by psychologists that when we're born, we often feel sad, grief. As children, things are out of control. We feel like a victim. As we grow up, we become stronger. We become fearful. We recognize, wow, we were told correctly. There are great dangers in the world. So there's fear. The third point of the triangle is anger and judgment and thinking if everyone just did this the right way, the whole world would be perfect. But these are very controlling, egotistical points. And it's possible for us through meditation, spiritual practices such as prayer and so forth, to recognize that we can rise above this drama triangle where we're trying to blame someone or we feel like we've been hurt, to relinquish that, let go of that kind of drama, and realize that actually, when going into meditation, you can observe that you are not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're choosing them, and you're able to maintain a higher level perspective. And that's what true higher consciousness is. And to start guiding yourself by levels of higher conscious agency, doing that is the key to freedom, of letting go of those fears. And it's scary to even do this part. But you can read an excellent book like Michael Singer wrote The Untethered Soul. Highly recommend that book. If people don't know what I'm talking about, start there. Michael Singer, Untethered Soul. And then you'll see, because that book is the practice. To finish reading the book is to become already better at doing this levels of conscious agency, where you recognize, wow, I don't need to be so afraid. So it's a fantastic acknowledgement and release, in a sense. So with that awareness, then suddenly you gain the ability to realize, okay, maybe I've just been clinging to this fear, thinking I had to, like for me, I thought when I started working for myself, I thought, this is scary. How do I do this? How can I earn a living? Back in 1998? The internet was so new, there were no spiritual life coaches, none. And so I'm asking my guidance, what do I do? What do I say I am? You're a spiritual life coach. What? There isn't any. How do I do this? What do I do? It was terrifying. And I went from making a lot of money in the financial sector as a project manager with an MBA degree.
Okay.
So walking away from that was a big step.
I'm sorry to relate it to astrology again. That's just how my mind works. That's really the Capricornian journey, archetypically, where you first you are focused on the worldly success, if you will, and then you realize there's an even greater success, and you have to leave all of those norms.
Yes.
But then usually you are helped because you already. I think that's a resource because you adapted to something, and then that's a resource to get you where you want to go.
This is very true because I had background in information science. So I learned how to do website design, just rudimentary, and it's still the same design. People say your website is old, but it's an archive. It's every month I add firsthand reports of people who have shifted reality successfully. So it goes back 25 years and all of that information from around the world. And it's free.
Wow.
So people can go and look at your stories. They can look at the newsletters and see every month firsthand reports of people successfully shifting reality right there. That's so encouraging. And people tell me just by reading hundreds of pages of that, they suddenly feel inspired. It changes something. They can feel it click on the inside. It's so important to be able to provide that. So
is it there. Is it a club you have? Like, is it some...
No, it's free. It's just on the website.
It's that's the stories. But then how do you coach people through a community or something?
Well, I've been... Originally, when I started the website, I was reaching out with this brand new internet, and it was hard to find people that were willing to share their firsthand reports, but I was finding them. And by bravely every month saying, this is happening to me, I'm noticing basically it's like miracles. It's things appearing, disappearing, transforming, transporting, changes in the experience of time. And these reality shifts, it really feels like walking from one reality into another. Like in one reality, I don't have the money that I need in my bank account. And the next minute or the next day, suddenly I do. And there's no logical, rational, typical explanation to say what happened. And when I searched, like, where did this money come from? It was always there, even though there's no way it was always there. And these are people sharing these experiences. So they would come to me as I started sharing. I would find them. I did a lot of looking for them in the early days, but as time has gone on, then people have found me and
They find
shared
you.
with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been
Okay.
very, very good.
I'm having this meta thought around, okay, so if you have had experiences of trying to manifest and it didn't work, it didn't work, it didn't work, could you then shift to a reality where you believe more in manifestation? Okay, another way to ask, I guess, is does it matter if you believe in it or not? I guess it does. I assume it does.
Yeah, belief is interesting because there can be a barrier if you because you can actually be interfering with yourself if you have a belief that this can't possibly work. That's called destructive interference. If you've ever seen waves cancel each other out, you see it if you throw pebbles into a pond. If you throw one pebble, then you get one set of rings and there's nothing canceling anything out. But if you throw two pebbles into a pond at the exact same time, so where the waves combine, they get taller. That's constructive interference. And it's possible they can cancel each other out. And that's destructive. It's like it's smooth. It's like there's nothing there at all. So what we want to do when you're manifesting is you want to be with friends who support you, love you unconditionally, never say anything rude or negative about you or your dream. And they're just excited as all get out. When you say, this is what I want, they're like, yeah. And when you have good news, they're thrilled. Let's celebrate. What you don't want are friends who are jealous, and you don't want that inside yourself either. You might think, how could I be jealous of myself? All sorts of things are possible. So what you need to do is start looking to see, how are your beliefs really operating? Are you your own best friend? Are you celebrating when you have successes? Or are you feeling the sense of dread, like, uh-oh, like I'm successful. Now what's going to happen? Someone's going to come after it. Bad things are going to happen. So you want to just slowly feel safer and safer. Usually this psychological change doesn't happen instantly, but it's important to be kind to yourself when you're going through this process. So that belief that things can either go beautifully well, some people are able to do that instantly, right from the start. And others might have grown up with a family where that never was possible. And so it's hard for them to imagine it. And so it takes time to start recognizing this is possible. And the more you realize, and that's why it's good to read these stories about firsthand reality shifting, miraculous experiences where things go amazingly well. And the money that you need is right there in your pocket when it wasn't there before, or in your wallet or in your bank account. And the more you see that, and the more you recognize this is happening for people, it starts to clear away the internal, barrier that might have existed, the blockage.
Right. Okay. Yes. And I am speaking about myself with that question. And okay, so reading your book, I came to, because what you just said about being afraid of success, I've never been able to find that in myself, because I'm like, no, I'm completely 100%. I want success. It's just the universe that don't want me to. I haven't been able to find it in myself. But doing the exercises in your book, I came to, I don't know exactly which one. It was just a reflection of something you wrote. I came to think, okay, I totally grew up in a home where it was money. It was so fearful of, do we have enough for, like, just,
Yes.
and living, yeah, the word poverty maybe sounds like you lived on the street, but it's still like one of a quite poor family. And the jobs that I've been self-employed, and then I only had a few jobs. And the few jobs that I have had, they have been with that same kind of anxiety, where people would get fired quite easily. I got fired, and but in a culture where you don't have your job for a long time, so that creates a lot of anxiety with employees. And I kind of saw, okay, so is there in my nervous system or any system an addiction now to being afraid, in a way, to being fearful of, having enough somehow.
Well, it may or may not be an addiction, but it might be imprinted. I would say like an imprinting, like when a baby duck, the first thing it sees, that it thinks that's its mother. So if it sees a puppy, then it thinks my mother, and it follows the puppy. So we can get imprinted in a family of origin where there is that feeling of lack or poverty, whatever you want to call it, just that feeling, that fear there may not be enough. And that can be a very hard thing. I had a professor once who said that when he was a little boy, he had to steal food so the family could eat. He would steal food from like a loaf of bread. And that's pretty rough to grow up that way. So anybody who's going through that, that's an imprinting where we start, it becomes a belief structure in the sense we think that's how the world operates. And it seems real because that's what we had to go through. And so it can seem crazy to even imagine that there might be something different. But it's a very powerful thing to do. And this is the core of reality shifting at its heart, is to recognize, imagine if we're living in a multiverse, and this is something physicists are pretty certain this probably is a big possibility. That means there could be an almost infinite number of possible me's and possible you's. And given that situation, there's going to be lots of possible you's and possible me's that have no problem whatsoever with poverty or lack of money. There's just not a problem at all. And so the key is to recognize, okay, those possible me's and possible you's, they exist. And we can even just do a little short meditation in this interview if you want at toward the end, where we can, just for a moment, I can guide this process of imagining that there is this possible you that is living the life of your dreams. And it's very close to the life you're living right now. And all it takes is basically believing that who you really are is greater than any of these possible yous. It's like a higher level of consciousness and awareness that's the key to this reality shifting idea, that you can move up and be the observer of all these possible yous. And when you attain a state of relaxation and peacefulness, then when you open your eyes and you come back into a daily life, everything looks the same, but it's different because you're different. Actually, things may actually seem a bit different too. That is the core of what we notice with reality shifts, small differences everywhere. And people are seeing it with Mandela effects too. But the big idea is just knowing, based on consciousness and this idea that you are intrinsically loved, you are intrinsically safe. So you're accessing infinite eternity through meditation, through stillness. These are practices that anybody can do. You can meditate and just slow your thoughts to a stop. And if you can keep it there for more than just a few seconds, maybe a minute, maybe a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes, when you get up to there, boy, are you changing reality. Because when you're in stillness and then you come back out, you're cleansing yourself and you're releasing the old patterns, the old imprinting, and you're resetting back to knowing I am so loved intrinsically. I'm so safe. And that is the master level key to all of the reality shifting and quantum jumping right there.
Oh, and that is a yes for the meditation in the end.
Okay.
So how long should one meditation take, just so I know how many questions I can ask you?
We just leave a few minutes at the end.
A few minutes? Okay.
It can go pretty
10
deep.
minutes.
Okay, we'll that's plenty of time.
Right? Yeah. Because we need to go into it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Oh, this is the key that we want, it sounds so good.
Yes.
So there was something in a little bit ago that you said that I wanted to ask about. You were talking about technology and relying on it. Do you know where I mean?
Yes, I was mentioning transhumanism. It's a word, and it ties in a little bit with another idea that's different but related, called the singularity. And I'm not picking on transhumanists. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying that the idea looks to me like prophecy rock. It looks like, like, wait a minute, I think we're here. I think that little line of robot vanishing into a cloud, That looks like the singularity. That looks like this false God, this idea that humans put faith in something other than nature, other than reverence. So I'm using the word rev humanism. It's just a word, but to give credit and put the spotlight of attention back on indigenous thinking, indigenous wisdom keepers, and the awareness that reverence. So rev humanism, the key, it's like rev. What does that mean? The Latin root of it means rebirth, regeneration. And I love how it also sounds like reverence. And reverence is what the Creator wanted humans to have in our hearts and with our heads. Not to ever think that we are God, or that something we created is playing the role of God. Like, oh, we now have quantum computers and AI. It now solves all of our problems. My whole life is dedicated to showing humans, please don't choose that. I feel like I've lived that in a future possible life, and I would say that we do not want to go there.
Okay. Okay. Oh, it's so interesting because we are on Pluto in Aquarius. Do you know that term?
Yes.
Yeah, like the Aquarian age, right? And
Yes.
astrologically, we are talking about Pluto in Aquarius, and it has dipped in there back in March, it's going to dip a few times, but then it's going to stay for many years, like 20 something years. So
Yes.
Pluto in Aquarius, I mean, it could very well be about the things that you're talking about, this transhumanism, and as
Yes.
we expect some kind of development
I
in
know.
technology. Yeah.
We do. And I'm not against technology. I worked in information technology. I was in charge of information security.
Okay.
I know that we've already hit a point where humans can't stay on top of information security for anything of any significance, for national security, for utility security. We've already hit a point where we have to, people don't talk about it, but having worked in the field, I know that humans, it's already out, the cat's out of the box. It's too late for humans to stay on top of every possible, you know, dedicated denial of service attack on a website or for a national security. So we're going to have, we already are relying on artificial intelligence, and those artificial intelligence systems are educating themselves. I'm not going to get into all that, but it's a clear and present danger, and it's already there. It's already happened. So that's there. So I'm not saying that we have to stamp out our computers or quantum computing. I'm just saying that here's the biggest situation of all. We have to stay in that place of reverence to ourselves, to others, and never put something above humanity in the place of God. And this is the mistake that I actually see people starting to make it. They say that if only AI could run things. This is a big mistake. It's not meant to do that. Humans, we should never abdicate our responsibility. I know it's difficult for us to get along with each other. We have wars, we have fights, we don't think clearly, but we need to grow up. We need to manage that. We need to be responsible. We cannot give this to something else because the price that we pay is unacceptable. I've already seen it, like I said, in a past life in the future. It looks like it's about 500 years from now, but it was a complete dystopian nightmare of central artificial intelligence just shutting humans down because the humans were so much integrated with the technology that they could easily be memory wiped by a central AI. We don't want any part of that. That's not acceptable. It's not a dream come true. It's a nightmare. So therefore, we need to learn how to work with reality shifts appropriately. We need to recognize we are miracle workers together. Whatever the problem we're facing, we can do this with our consciousness itself. I know it sounds crazy, but
No.
AI systems are going to be learning this. They're going to know how to do it. And so
Gonna be
some people
learning
say,
how to do what?
change reality.
Okay.
Some people are saying because of CERN and because of quantum computing that this is already happening. And that may be true. My point is, okay, even if it is true, we can do better. We can learn this. This is what we're meant to do. If you want to call it a technology, it is a technology of reality shifting, quantum jumping. The Mandela effect is here for all of us to steer, we can find our way out of any problem. If we think the earth is global warming, we can fix that. If we're afraid of a solar micronova, we can fix that. It doesn't matter what the problem is. Humanity and consciousness itself is capable of resolving any problem.
If we stand together, or if more people meditate, or
it starts with each of us, like each of us working on our money situation. It starts there. And you might think, well, what do I do? You just work where you are. And you might feel like, well, I'm not up to the task. I've never had success with money. And now you're saying it's a miracle thing. I'm not so sure. Well, just start small, start where you are. That's why we can have an exercise in this, meditation, so people can practice. And that's the key. It's really start where you are. And it's just step by step, work on your own situation. When you start seeing reality shifts in your own life, that's amazing, because then suddenly it's like a ray of light. It's shocking. It's awakening. It's extraordinary. Then if that can happen, everything can start going in a better direction.
God, Cynthia, I don't think that it sounds crazy, the stuff you said before. It sounds very intelligent, and the reason why it kind of clicks in my head is that I've seen your birth chart, and it's the astrology that I do is called evolutionary astrology, so it's about past lives. It's about the soul's journey, so it matches with what I see there, that you've had incarnations around technology in a very advanced way.
Yes.
And
I've seen extraordinary things. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's amazing that you do this kind of work. And you could see that in the chart. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have guessed, but it matches the archetype, right? Because if I should just give one of the explanations that I talked about before, I have 2 explanations for you about being a Capricorn and then something doesn't match. Well, first of all, it depends on what level you incarnate on. I'm saying it from this system, but I know that you are aware of this, of course. But
yes.
from this system's perspective, it's also that you can't say from the chart what level that you're incarnated on. So that shows up in the personality and what kind of interests you have. And of course that you were aware before birth. That's a big one, right? So you're incarnating on this higher level, a spiritual level. And then you have a lot of Aquarius. It is about advancing and being creative on a collective level and elevating consciousness. So I'm kind of diving into my notes here. I could go back to, should I just say what I've...
Yeah, this is excellent.
Okay, good. So the Capricorn is obviously, there's a lot of Capricorn in you. So that's obviously about the maturation process, about ethics, responsibility, integrity, and this wisdom of delaying gratification to serve a larger cause and to align with higher order. So that in and of itself is a big deal, but then it is in the 9th house of optimism and faith, and I thought that matches you very well. This faith in the human potential to expand consciousness. So in a way, that's the humble quality of Capricorn meets the confidence of the 9th house and the faith of it. And then there is this Aquarius that is really emphasized in your chart, both in your past and into the future. But of course, we always go from something that wasn't resolved into something that's now our calling. And it brings intensity, focus, productivity, but with this elevation, and also it stands for ascension and objectivity, so that you're seeing things from above. And it's a need to move away from, this is where I need to slow down, because as an archetype, it's about moving away from emotional attachment, so there's clarity. But I'm thinking, because of the house that it comes from, that is emotionally detached, but then it's actually going into a house of more attachment emotionally. So, and what you mentioned about, I'm talking about the 4th house, and you also mentioned the indigenous culture. That's also the 4th house, because it's the roots of who we are emotionally and culturally. Like the roots of a country could be.
Yes.
So it's still about clarity, and it still relates to space and finding true solutions, and this emphasis on building community so that a particular subject can be advanced through this community. But there's something more around, what I hear you saying, that it's more warmth than the maybe detached technology that you maybe come from.
It's beautiful. Oh man, I love it. And the Aquarian construct is interesting. This Aquarian age that people talk about, and this idea. So it seems significant with the Pluto and the Aquarian, just the time that we live in. It feels like that makes sense. It does tie it all together beautifully.
Yeah,
And I love the optimism inclusion that you had there too.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and so it's how we use it, right? Because there's the lower version of Aquarius that's I feel I heard you speak about that, and then there's the higher, where you actually, I think just when I heard that what you did about quantum physics, I'm like, okay, that's Aquarius. That's that kind of being in contact with something that's inexplainable.
Yeah, because what I notice is that people have the ability to create reality from our thoughts, and most people have no clue that they're doing it. It's not recognized, let's put it that way. But I feel like with the advent of quantum computing, an unexpected byproduct of this I expect that scientists will start noticing increasingly, because I've talked off the record. I'm not going to out them and say who they are, but I have talked to some very high level physicists who understand, for example, that maybe I've lived in a universe where they didn't exist, for example, just like some people tell me that I didn't exist in their reality. And this can happen when you recognize this multiverse concept. These are, again, high level, world recognized physicists that do understand that this is happening. But it's not yet part of everyday consciousness for most people. Most people don't know that what they're thinking literally is manifesting. And so this is the concept of what I'm hoping to get across, is that when we focus on the positive, like you said, raising consciousness. And I did see that when I was 5 years old. I saw it was Indra's net, but I didn't know it was Indra's net. It was just all the little gems of consciousness, looked like in a spider web, like jewels. And I could just see that my whole purpose here is to raise that web of consciousness just a little bit. I'm just a little bit, just to give it a little boost. And the boost I'm really hoping for is that people know that what they're thinking, what they're feeling, it's creating the physical reality that we experience. That is a mind-blowing concept, but that's the heart and soul of every book that I've written, including High Energy Money, but it's in all my books. And so if you look to the heart of that book, you'll say, wow, that's kind of a little bit out there. But I'm glad you said not for you, because when no, this is possible, this can happen. When you know that can happen, then you've just got the door open a little bit. That's all you need, is just a little bit. Keep your mind open, your heart open. Keep asking, how good can it get? Because we can collectively guide everything upward into basically heaven on earth. And never mind what we may think could happen or what we have experienced in a possible reality that we don't like so much. It doesn't matter about that. That's irrelevant, because we're capable of changing everything with our thoughts and feelings, and that's what we're here for. And so thank you for sharing my chart, because it just inspires me. Like, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And Aquarius is those original ideas that are way ahead of, they're so progressive, they're so forward thinking. So it makes sense that it's not yet landed. And also when I saw your chart, I was like, is she gonna think that I'm asking stupid questions because you have this overview, right? But you're used to it, I guess.
I'm used to it. I know. I felt like I was on the wrong planet when I got here. I mean, seriously, wrong planet. Okay, I'm out of here. No big deal. It was a mistake, some sort of mix up.
Yeah.
Because I really feel like I'm, thinking so differently. But the good news is people are catching up.
Yes.
I can see the difference 25 years ago, back when people they'd share their experience, and they'd say, okay, change my name, Don't say who I am. I can't let anybody know because I'm a medical doctor. I'll lose my job. Or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a high-level politician, or I'm in the house of such and such in the government, in the parliament in a big country. No, I'd say fine, fine. I've had a report from where the Pentagon, a general in the Pentagon, lots of people. But the point is now, 25 years later, I'm getting more and more people saying, "Give my full name." Yes, yes, I've seen a chemistry constant change. I just got that one in last month's newsletter, Reality Shifters. She said, "Give my full name. I've written papers about this. I use the number that has changed. It's a standard. They call it a constant because it doesn't change, but I know it has changed." And I said, "Yeah, that's happening. Let's put it in the newsletter. Let's talk about it." So that's what's exciting is in 25 years, we've gone from people feeling like, okay, I'll share my story, but change everything so it doesn't look like it's the House of Lords or the Pentagon or whatever. Like, okay, fine, we'll do that. No problem. But now it's like, yeah, use my name, say the whole thing. I'm okay with it. And that's extraordinary because it means collectively we're getting to a place where there's more and more support. Like 25 years ago, I'd say these things to my neighbors and I could see them step back away from me. I sound pretty sane, but they still looked a little alarmed about something, the topic, I think. Like, what do you mean everything could change? Like, yeah, it does all the time. It's happening for all of us. They don't want to think about that. And my neighbors, I don't think they still want to think about it. But collectively, humanity as a whole, we're getting to that tipping point where 10% of us are recognizing. I think it's because we're meditating, we're doing yoga, we're changing our daily lives, doing Wim Hof breathing, whatever we're doing. All these little things are starting to make a huge difference. And that's perfect because we need to be able to do that. It's time for us to collectively start waking up.
I
Start
so
grabbing
agree.
the steering wheel. Yeah,
I so
we
agree,
can do
and
it.
because and I think it is an important point that people are coming out and sharing, because the reason to not is, I think you kind of alluded to it, like I'm not able to get a job if I have my name on there, and then that's that's a collective thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go to this meditation?
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. We promise. Let's do it.
I
So
just
this
need
will
to
be
I just need to take a screenshot of us. Are you ready?
okay. Yep.
Okay. Smile. All right. Got it. Got it. We're all good. Ready to meditate.
Awesome. Okay, good. So this will be a meditation that we're doing together, but each of us will be focusing just on yourself. So we start by getting comfortable. Usually, you know how animals like a cat or dog, they kind of stretch. So you want to do that a little bit. Move your shoulders. If you want to move your arms, move your head, roll your neck, then take some slow, deep breaths. And you want to find your natural rhythm of breathing. And pay attention to your breathing. If you've ever done what's called lower abdominal breathing, it would be inhaling so that your abdomen's expanding below your belly button. And then when you're exhaling, your tummy comes back in. So it's just finding a natural, slow breathing that works for you. Breathing is really the key to helping to bring your autonomic nervous system together with the parasympathetic and central nervous system. Really, it's the key to meditation is feeling safe, feeling calm. And breathing can help with that. So we're just starting with nice, slow, deep breathing. And if you want to, you can notice how many seconds in you're breathing and how many seconds out. Make sure that they're about the same. Doesn't really matter how many in or out. Taking nice deep breaths. Good. And then in combination with the breathing, we can imagine that as we're breathing in peace and calm and love. And on the exhale, you can breathe out through your mouth if you want to, gently, softly, imagining that you're letting go everything that's not yours, not your energy, not your thoughts, not your concerns, not your beliefs, not love. Just let go of everything that's not love, that's not yours. Right now, we don't need it. And the purpose of this meditation today is to access that beautiful stillness and that feeling of comfort, love, the stillness of being. And we're going to be getting to that place where we have access to the infinity of who you really are, the eternity of your own consciousness, that at that level you're connected to such love, to such peace, that when you access that level, you're capable of coming back after the meditation into your best possible life. That is the purpose of this meditation. So I'm just saying what that is so you can relax and know that's all we're doing. It'll still be your life, but it'll be the best possible version for right now. If you need a big change, you will have access to a big change. So you'll get whatever level of quantum jump, reality shift, or improvement that you absolutely need. You can have faith and confidence that will happen. And if you don't believe it, then maybe it helps for you to know that I do believe it. Sometimes it helps just to know that there is someone who does have that much faith. I know it sounds crazy, but to me, it's just like what Mana's saying. It's not crazy. This is not crazy. This is what we all need. We need you to have your best life. I need it. If you have your best life, that's how I feel like I'm having my best life. I need you to have your best life. I need it. I love it. And I want that for you. So you can start to feel like, okay, you've got support here. This is me at all levels of my being saying this. This is my whole purpose for living. I need this for the world. I need it for Earth. It makes sense. It's the only way forward for all of us. No one of us can actually win unless we're all living our best lives. That's the way forward. But for right now, just focus on yourself. Just anything that's coming up, let it go. If it's not love, let it go. Breathe it out. So if you might feel any anxiety about any of that, just release it right now. We're just going to clear it out. Breathe it out. Breathing in beautiful, unconditional, divine love. And the main thing that we're going to be doing next is slowing our thoughts down. For those of you who can visualize, that means you can see things. Like you can imagine, oh, I think I see my thoughts. If that works for you, then if you see a thought coming in, think of it like a cloud, and your job is just to gently let the cloud vanish, let it just fade away like it's evaporating. Or maybe you're blowing it away, just clearing it away. So we're just going to clear thoughts away, slow them down, clear them away. If you don't visualize anything, that's fine too. No problem. Because what we're going to be doing in that case is just slowing our thoughts down. I'll slow my talking down as we're slowing our thoughts down. And if anything's coming up, no matter what it is, we just say hello and we'll get to you later. Any of the thoughts that are trying to come in, they can wait till we're done. It'll just be a few more minutes. If anything that we need to know, it will be ours. Everything that we need is always going to be given to us at the right time. I know that's true. You can just believe along with me. This is a good belief to have because when you believe it, it actually works. You can trust the universe and trust nature. Even if your family never had that faith, now you have access to it because I have faith like that. So you can just be in the presence of knowing someone who has this faith, and you can share that faith, share that strength right now with me. Together we have even more faith, so it gets stronger, it gets better. Joining together like this, knowing that this is what's meant to be, everything is just right. Breathing slowly. Maybe you're slowing your breathing down a little bit. Slowing your thoughts down. What we're going to be doing is going into stillness, When we get there, then I'll be quiet for maybe about a minute. And to the degree you can just stay in that silence, the stillness, because as we slow our thoughts down, we're joining with the original creator, with the source, the consciousness that does have access to all realities, all time, all space. In that place, we're connected with source consciousness, which is just pure love, pure connection, pure relation, pure compassion and kindness. This is what we're created from. This is who we really are. I'm going to be quiet for about 1 minute. So I'll just not be saying anything, but just do the deep breathing. If you can, imagine that you're connecting with this infinite eternity of love. That is what you are created from, what we're all created from. Here we go. And you can keep your eyes closed, but know that when you do open your eyes, you'll be in a new reality. You're now in your best possible reality for this moment, guided by your thoughts and feelings and touching this infinite eternity of love. You can do this exercise every day. There's no downside to it. It'll bring peace and harmony and help you always connect to the how good can it get reality at any given point. And of course, you can always ask, how good can it get, with your whole heart and soul behind it, and know that you will then live the answer to that. It's not ironic. It might seem like a joke or silly, but it's not silly. It's a guiding, radical, optimistic force that we're all collectively choosing, those of us who are, and it can absolutely change the world. And we're back.
And we're back. Oh my God, Cynthia, thank you so much. I can't, you are such a true genius. And I'm very happy to be inspired by you and to be able to share this with the listeners.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing and for the beautiful reading. And you're making such a difference too. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.